Imagine you're driving down a quiet highway at night. The sky is clear, the road is empty, and everything feels calm. But right as you approach the next mile, your car suddenly slows down on its own. A voice inside the vehicle warns you. Reduce speed. A collision is predicted 200 feet ahead. You look around confused. There's nothing in sight. No cars, no animals, no debris. Just silence. And then, as you inch forward, a pickup truck bursts out from a hidden side road, completely ignoring a stop sign. If your car hadn't slowed down, that truck would have struck you head-on. Now imagine this happening not by luck, but because artificial intelligence had already seen the accident before it ever existed. Not seconds before, not minutes, but hours, maybe even days. Today, we are stepping into the world where AI doesn't just react to danger. It predicts every road accident before it happens. And the question is simple. What would life look like if every crash, every mistake, every near-fatal moment on the road could be prevented before anyone ever got hurt? Before we dive deeper, make sure you follow this channel if you're into futuristic automotive concepts, AI breakthroughs, and mind-bending what-if scenarios. Because what we're exploring today is something that might change the way every American drives. Right now, more than 30,000 people die in road crashes each year in the United States. Most of them aren't caused by bad cars. They're caused by bad timing, bad decisions, or bad luck. A text message that pulls your eyes off the road for 1 second. A driver who thinks they can make a yellow light. A teenager misjudging a curve. A trucker falling asleep for a moment too long. But what if artificial intelligence could detect all of these risks long before they even formed into danger? What if AI could measure millions of variables, weather shifts, tire friction, speed patterns, driver stress levels, road wear, traffic flow probabilities, and combine all of that into a real-time danger prediction score for every single vehicle on the road? Picture an AI network that knows a storm is coming before you see clouds, predicts a slippery turn before your tires touch it, senses driving behavior changes before a human brain even realizes it's stressed. Maybe it detects micro-movements in the steering wheel that signal distraction. Maybe it reads subtle pressure changes on the pedals that show hesitation. Maybe it tracks nearby vehicles and identifies the one driver who has been drifting lanes just slightly more than normal. Someone you wouldn't notice, but an AI would. And before any of these tiny hints grow into real danger, your car responds. It eases your speed, it changes your route, it warns the reckless driver next to you. It sends alerts to surrounding vehicles. It even communicates with city infrastructure, shifting traffic lights to reduce risk before the danger ever reaches an intersection. But here's where things get even more interesting. What if this technology didn't just protect you? What if it changed the behavior of every driver around you without them even realizing? Imagine a highway where every car, whether it's a brand new electric SUV or a 10-year-old pickup, constantly shares information with a single predictive AI system. Not personal data, not anything identifying, just the patterns of motion that matter for safety. The AI watches thousands of micro-interactions happening at the same time. Lane changes, braking habits, merge decisions, speed fluctuations, reaction delays, and even the spacing between vehicles. Then it finds patterns we could never see. Maybe it detects that a driver 3 cars ahead of you keeps tapping the brakes half a second too late, a sign they might be tired or distracted. Maybe it notices that a vehicle in the next lane is drifting toward the dividing line every time the driver checks their mirror. These aren't things a human would consciously track, but an AI could see them all at once, like watching the entire highway from above in slow motion and fast forward at the same time. Now imagine that, instead of predicting accidents a split second before they occur, the system predicts them minutes ahead, or maybe 30 minutes. Or maybe it warns the city transportation grid that based on current conditions, a specific intersection will experience a high-risk moment at exactly 4:17 p.m. because of a combination of rush hour flow, sun glare, and a high probability of aggressive merging. So traffic lights adjust, speed limits shift, roadside alerts activate, and as a result, the accident never happens. No one ever realizes that anything was prevented, because for the first time, safety becomes invisible. Nothing dramatic. No screeching brakes, No honking horns, just roads moving smoothly because the danger was erased before it could exist. But what would this mean for everyday drivers in the United States? For families on long road trips, teenagers getting their first license, truckers moving across states, or commuters who deal with unpredictable traffic every single morning? It means driving could feel less like navigation and more like collaboration. You wouldn't just drive through traffic, you'd be part of a network working together to keep everyone safe. Your car would adjust its behavior based not only on what you do, but on what thousands of other drivers are likely to do next. And here's where the idea becomes even more powerful. The more data this AI collects, the smarter it becomes. Over time, it could begin to predict long-term accident probabilities. It might analyze seasonal trends, local driving cultures, road surface conditions, and how specific cities behave during certain holidays or weather events. It might learn that a particular neighborhood always becomes risky right after school lets out, or that a certain stretch of freeway turns dangerous whenever wind speed hits a specific threshold. Eventually, it might even prevent accidents caused by mechanical failure. If your brakes are wearing out in a pattern that statistically leads to failure, the AI might predict the failure before it happens. If a tire's pressure is dropping in a way that historically ends in a blowout, your car could warn you hours before the danger becomes real, not just detection, prediction. Now here's the real question. If AI could prevent almost every crash before it happens, would humans still be allowed to drive freely? Or would AI begin taking control more often than we expect? If an AI system becomes capable of predicting the majority of road accidents before they ever occur, the role of human drivers might begin to shift in ways we're not fully prepared for. Right now, we like to believe we're the ones in control, hands on the wheel, foot on the pedals, making every decision. But imagine a future where the car knows, with statistical certainty, that a crash will happen if you make a specific move. Maybe you try to accelerate to pass a slow vehicle, but the AI has already calculated that another driver ahead will drift into your lane at the exact wrong moment. So your car gently holds you back, not forcefully, but firmly enough to keep you out of danger. You still feel like you're driving, but in reality, the AI is guiding you away from a crash you never even knew was coming. Now think about how this might feel for different drivers. Some might love it, especially parents who want peace of mind for their kids. A teenager driving home late at night would have an invisible guardian watching every mile. But others might resist the idea of a machine overruling their instincts. What happens when someone wants full control, but the AI knows their choice will statistically lead to a high-risk situation? Does the system let them continue, or does it intervene? And if it intervenes, is that still driving, or is that supervision? Yet even as drivers debate control, something else happens quietly in the background. Insurance companies begin to notice fewer claims. Emergency rooms see fewer trauma cases. Cities spend less on accident-related damage. The entire road ecosystem becomes calmer, almost unnaturally so. Americans who once feared long highway trips begin to trust the open road again. The AI creates a world where unpredictability becomes predictable, and chaos becomes manageable. But here's a deeper twist. When millions of cars begin to rely on predictive AI, they start influencing each other. The moment one car adjusts its speed, another reacts, then another, creating waves of subtle, synchronized movement across entire highways. What once looked like random traffic flow becomes a coordinated dance, guided by algorithms rather than instinct. Even drivers who don't know the system exists benefit from it, because they're surrounded by cars constantly adjusting to keep everyone safe. A single risky driver becomes less dangerous because the entire network anticipates their behavior and compensates for it. At some point, this predictive system could reach a level where accident-free travel becomes the norm, not the exception. Kids born into that world might never understand what it felt like to grip the wheel tightly during a near miss. They might grow up hearing stories about car crashes the same way we hear stories about diseases that no longer exist. Something that used to be part of everyday life becomes almost mythical. But every technology this powerful comes with a cost. If AI can prevent every accident, then it also knows when every driver is about to make a mistake. It knows your patterns, your habits, your reactions. It knows when you're stressed, distracted, or impatient. And if it can predict your mistakes, that means it understands your behavior better than you do. The question is, how much of that control should it be allowed to use? If AI reaches a point where it can predict every possible road accident before it happens, society faces a decision that goes far beyond technology. It becomes a question of trust. Not just trust in machines, but trust in the idea that something non-human could understand danger better than we ever could. Imagine a country where every driver, from rural towns to crowded cities, depends on a system that constantly watches over the roads. It does not sleep, it does not get distracted, and it does not panic. It simply analyzes, predicts, and protects. But in doing so, it begins to shape the way we interact with our vehicles, our roads, and even our sense of personal freedom. Think about a moment when you're driving through a busy intersection on a sunny afternoon. You feel confident, alert, fully in control. But the AI detects a pattern that your eyes can't catch. A driver approaching from the opposite direction has a subtle drift in their steering, the kind that statistically leads to late braking. The system predicts that if both of you continue at your current pace, your paths will cross at the exact wrong fraction of a second. Before you feel any danger, your car slows down just slightly. Not enough to alarm you, but enough to change the outcome. The other driver never even realizes how close they came to a collision. You continue your day without knowing the AI just protected you from an accident that, by all traditional logic, never existed. This kind of invisible safety creates a world where danger is eliminated quietly and consistently. But what happens when people begin to rely on it too much? If drivers start assuming the AI will catch every mistake, do they become less attentive? If parents trust the system completely, do they stop teaching their kids defensive driving? And in a world where accidents barely happen, does anyone still remember how risky driving used to be? Then there's the question of responsibility. If an AI predicts an accident and prevents it by adjusting your car's behavior, who is responsible for the decision it made? If it restricts your speed or changes your route without asking, is that protection or control? And what about scenarios where the system predicts a high-risk situation but chooses one outcome over another? Does that remove human judgment from the equation? These questions become even more important in a country like the United States, where freedom of choice is deeply valued. People might love the safety, but struggle with the idea of surrendering authority to a machine, even if that machine is saving lives. But there is another way to look at it. Maybe predictive AI won't take freedom away. It might give a new kind of freedom back. Freedom from fear on long road trips. Freedom from worrying about inexperienced teenage drivers. Freedom from the anxiety of unpredictable highways. A future where you drive knowing the road is watching out for you, not judging you, but protecting you. A future where every journey, from daily commutes to cross-country adventures, carries a sense of calm you've never experienced before. If AI could truly predict every road accident before it happens, we might enter an era where safety becomes effortless and accidents become stories from a past generation. And if you want to explore more what-if scenarios like this one, make sure you stay connected to this channel because the future of driving is evolving faster than ever and we're just getting started.